In this video, guys, I'm going to look at some of the common themes that come with bull markets or just generally strong markets. Stay tuned. Hey guys, warm welcome to you. All right, so sometimes in hindsight, it's easy to see a bull market, right? You look at the daily charts, an uptrend like it's a bull market, but often as traders, when we're at the hard right edge of the chart, we're thinking, hey, is this a reversal? Is this going to pull back? And especially on a daily chart, a pullback could be quite deep, but still not do much damage to the uptrend. And so we're always questioning this. And then we go to a 15-minute chart, maybe an intraday chart, whatever time frame that may be, and we start to look and say, okay, well, even in a bull market, do we have opportunity on the short side here? Should we align ourselves with the long? So some of the things we can look for from a kind of day perspective, how the day types are like, to kind of suggest that, hey, the buyers are still in control, we're still a bull market. Because listen, guys, as much as the media would like to convince us bull markets aren't just raging, ramping, we do have times we have that, and even recently we've had times when, you know, particularly tech stocks have really rallied. But it's not always just buy, just keep buying fresh highs and you do fine. You know as well as I do that you've still got to time your effort, unless you're fully invested in and just riding it for the longer term. That's different, something different altogether. If you're trading, you've got to time your entry still. So how do we kind of judge that actually, you know, this week might be, a bearish week, and in which case we can trade on the short side, and that might not have much damage at all on the daily chart, but it's still opportunity. So how do we still align ourselves with the market, and what are the things we can look for to say, hey, yes, we're still in the conditions, it's a bull market, we still have kind of a lot more demand than we do supply. So the first thing is, from an intraday perspective, very often in a bull market, we get the low early in the morning. So we get a morning low. Rather than us trying to struggle at highs and then fade off in the afternoon, bull market tends to kind of maybe drift, maybe do some early buying, drift lower, just find a bit of support, and then it kind of then lifts higher and higher and higher, and you get the afternoon high, morning low. So generally that's what you'll get. The other thing to look at is consolidation. Most of the time will resolve itself with a move higher. So even if you're talking intraday, and this is pretty much the same on a daily chart as well, guys, consolidation is giving time to the bulls. So in other words, if you imagine there's lots of money flowing into the asset that you're looking at, money flowing into stocks, whatever it may be, while the market consolidates, that money might be still flowing in, but bears might well be selling into that for whatever reason, and that's why you get this kind of stagnation and consolidation. It's not enough to overpower the buyers and cause a drive lower, but it just sits there and stagnates. So you've seen it on an intraday chart yourself, you've seen it on a kind of daily chart, but the likely resolve of that is if the conditions are still right, i.e. when a bull market, for whatever reason the bull market's here, the underlying economy, whatever it may be, the point is after that supply, i.e. the sellers, has dried up, the continued buying will resolve itself to the upside, and they'll start to have to pay higher and higher prices. Just like any chart, guys, when you see it kind of go up, drift, almost like the moving average catching up to it, pushing price up a little bit, that is often the sign of a bull market, when consolidations are resolving to the upside. Now, not to say we can't have those little tests to the downside, they get bought, but very often we get a consolidation to the upside. The other one thing to look at and good test is when you're in a slow environment, i.e. the volume's low, whether you're looking at a stock, whether you're looking at whatever asset, so the general volume compared to other days is slow, you will likely get a drift higher. Again, the same reason is that, generally speaking, in a bull market, there's systemized buying, there's money being put to work regularly, consistently, while the underlying kind of broad macro outlook, if you like, is favorable. And so that's causing even a slow market. If you've got a VWAP algo, we talked a lot about algos before, if they're slicing up in volume, even if it's low volume, they're still doing something. And of course, that's just enough to create a supply-demand imbalance and push the upside. So we've got the morning low, something to look out for. We've got consolidation to the upside, slow days tend to be drifting up. Now, another thing to look out for in a bull market and for markets has been pretty good actually on the indices specifically while we've had that run up. Of course, different when we get this news-driven movement, but we have a morning low, a consolidation, and we often get an afternoon breakout in a bull market. Again, same kind of thing. The morning low finds buyers, consolidation, maybe a little bit of a drift lower, back to a volume weighted average price, back to a mean if you're trading Forex, back to a midpoint or a pivot, whatever it may be, some kind of mean reversion, and then a late afternoon buying. The reason for that generally is same kind of thing. We have the systemized buying coming in, and now we have some supply for whatever reason. But that systemized buying is still consistent because of the macro nature of why people are investing in stocks, or why people are investing in gold, or whatever it may be, why we have a bull market. And so in the afternoon, these guys get a little bit more aggressive, and there's the underlying wave of buying anyway. And without the supply coming in, i.e. the sellers, that then causes price to go high, new high, new high, new high, which is very often why we get the afternoon breakout. So we get the morning test, don't often always open at lows, close at highs. That's a classic trend day. But we might open the kind of midpoint, test the highs, rotate down and do a kind of few hours to a low, and then we'll move up, maybe consolidate over lunchtime, and then we get that final breakout. And we're not talking aggressive, guys. Generally speaking, you know, these aren't monster breakouts of volatility breakouts or momentum strategies or momentum ignition. They just break out, they just plod, they just plod, they just plod, and it's purely very slight supply demand imbalance causing it to close, maybe not at highs, but at least, you know, in the upper third of the trading day. And of course, we do get days where we get interspersed with red days as well. It's not always green candles, but that's the general theme when we're in these bull market environments. Those kind of things where, and the way to think about it, the way that I think about it is that how would, if you could imagine an underlying pressure of buyers coming in, regardless of whether you believe that to be true or not, imagine that's an underlying pressure coming in with buyers, and imagine that's always there in a bull market. So how would that react on the chart? So let's say sellers are always going to be there, but let's say they're more intermittent. So let's say they're like pulsing in sellers. How is that going to react on the chart? And you start to think and see, okay, well, maybe if we get a lot of sellers, we get a drive lower. But once those have dried up, the steady impact of the buyers causes us to lift off lows, which is very often why if we get selling day, very aggressive selling day, and when we V-spike, we don't necessarily undo it all, but we come back, we consolidate, and then we're back on with a consistent buying that plods the market up. So something to think about, guys, and some of the attributes of a bull market or a very, very strong uptrend on the daily chart. Whatever you're doing, keep this managed. I'll see you in the next one. Take care. Bye-bye.